Nanoscience and Technology. We have been discussing about physical methods of synthesis of nanomaterials from our previous video, where we firstly studied ball milling. So continuing with the same, in today's video, let's step forward to learn about physical vapor deposition, which is also known as PVD. It is one of the top-down methods of synthesis. Physical vapor deposition (PVD) is referred to deposition processes of thin films and nanostructures through the evaporation of solid precursors into their vapor phase by physical approaches followed by the condensation of vapor phase on substrate. So for your understanding, let me put it into simple words. Physical vapor deposition, as the name indicates, what we do in this process is, with the help of physical means, firstly we convert our source material into vapors, and then these vapors are condensed and deposited on the substrate. PVD processes are also often called as thin film processes because mostly with the help of PVD we obtain nanomaterials in the form of thin films, which are two-dimensional nanomaterials, and hence these PVD processes are also known as thin film processes. These are atomistic deposition processes in which material is vaporized from a solid or liquid source in the form of atoms or molecules transported in the form of vapor through a vacuum or low pressure gaseous or plasma environment to the substrate where it condenses. So as you can see in this block diagram, firstly our solid precursor, which is our source material, is evaporated with the help of physical means and converted into vapors, that is vapor phase. Later these vapors are transported to the substrate where the condensation of these vapors takes place and the material gets deposited on the substrate, which is usually again the solid phase. Now I think with the help of this block diagram you must be clear with the basic principle of PVD. The whole process of PVD consists of three stages. First, evaporation of the solid source. Second, vapor phase transport from the source to the substrates. And third, vapor condensation on the substrate. Since PVD technique can convert solid materials into vapor phase without chemical processes, they are very convenient and possible to deposit many types of materials into thin films and nanostructures. So basically PVD is purely physical method and there are no any chemical procedures or reactions involved in it, and that's why it becomes convenient and easy to deposit thin films of many types of materials using PVD. Typically PVD processes are used to deposit films with thickness in the range of few nanometers to thousands of nanometers. They can also be used to form multi-layer coatings, graded composition deposits, very thick deposits and freestanding structures. The substrate can range in size from very small to very large. The substrate can range in shape from flat to complex geometries such as watch bands and tool bits. Typical PVD deposition rates are 10 to 100 Armstrong, that is 1 to 10 nanometers per second. That means we can deposit 1 to 10 nanometers per second using PVD. PVD techniques can be classified based on the techniques used to evaporate the solid source materials into their vapor phase. That means depending upon how the source material is vaporized, the PVD techniques are classified into different categories, and they are vacuum evaporation, sputter deposition and ion plating. But for today we'll just study vacuum evaporation, and in our upcoming videos we'll study about sputter deposition and ion plating. So firstly let's learn about vacuum deposition in detail. So vacuum deposition. Vacuum deposition, which is sometimes called vacuum evaporation, is a PVD process in which material from a thermal vaporization source reaches the substrate with little or no collision with the gas molecules in the space between the source and the substrate. So as you can see in this figure, this is our filament, which is a thermal heating source where we'll place our source material, and above it we have placed our substrate. So this thermally heated source vaporizes our source material, and these vapors travel through this distance and then get condensed and deposited on the substrate. And in between, while traveling from filament to substrate, the atoms or molecules or the vapors don't collide with any gas molecules, because this is a vacuum. There is no any gas coming in, or there is no any interaction of the gas in between this space. The trajectory of the vaporized material is line of sight. That means route or path of the vapors from the filament to the substrate is the line of sight. Line of sight is nothing but the straight path between the filament and the substrate. The vacuum environment also provides the ability to reduce gaseous contamination in the deposition system to a low level. So as you can see, there is vacuum between filament and substrate, because of which there is low or less gaseous contamination in the deposition system. Typically, vacuum deposition takes place in the gas pressure range of 10 raised to minus 5 torr to 10 raised to minus 9 torr, depending on the level of gaseous contamination that can be tolerated in the deposition system. That means depending upon how much gaseous contamination can withstand in the deposition system, depending on this, the gas pressure is between 10 raised to minus 5 torr to 10 raised to minus 9 torr. The thermal vaporization rate can be very high compared to other vaporization methods. Thermal evaporation is generally done using thermally heated sources such as tungsten wire coils, or by high energy electron beam heating of the source material itself. Generally, the substrates are mounted at an appreciable distance away from the evaporation source to reduce radiant heating of the substrate by the vaporization source. So as you can see in this diagram, there is a vacuum system and this is the vacuum chamber. At the bottom we have our heater, which is thermally heating source, and above which we have placed our source material. So this thermal heating helps the source material to get vaporized, and then at the top we have our substrate, that is wafers, and this is wafer holder, and in between there is vacuum. So the source material gets converted into vapors, then these vapors travel from the source material to the substrate in vacuum space and get condensed and deposited on the vapors. So as you can see, the substrate is placed at a appreciable distance from the source material, so in order to avoid its heating due to the heater which is placed at the bottom. So this was all about vapor deposition process. Now let's look at some of its advantages and disadvantages. Firstly, let's have a look at its advantages. First, high purity films can be deposited from high purity source material. Second, films can be deposited at high rates, that is up to 0.5 micrometer per minute. Third, low energy atoms, which is 0.1 electron volt, leave little surface damage. Fourth, little residual gas and impurity contamination due to high vacuum. Fifth, no substrate heating. Sixth, deposition rate monitoring and control are relatively easy. And lastly, it is least expensive of the PVD processes. Now let's see its disadvantages. Firstly, it is difficult to control alloy compounds using PVD. Second, line of sight trajectories and limited area sources result in poor film thickness uniformity over large areas. Third, poor surface coverage on complex surfaces. Fourth, large volume vacuum chambers are generally required to keep an appreciable distance between the hot source and the substrate. So these were a few of its advantages and disadvantages. Now let's have a look at its applications. Vacuum deposition is used to form optical interference coatings, mirror coatings, decorative coatings, permeation barrier films on flexible packaging materials, electrically conducting films, wear resistant coatings, and corrosion protective coatings. So with this we are done with our today's learning, and to those who are new to this channel, please do subscribe and press the bell icon so that I can help you guys to explore much more about nanoscience and technology. And if you found today's video helpful in any ways, then please like this video and share it with those who would find it helpful. So that's all for today, and until next time, be happy and keep learning.